In May 2001, 49-year-old Leslie Preer lived in a quiet, affluent neighborhood in Chevy Chase, Maryland. On May 2nd, a welfare check brought police to her home on Dunmore Road, where they discovered she had been murdered. Detectives investigated and eventually cleared early suspects, including Sandy Preer. At the crime scene, investigators recovered the gold standard of homicide evidence, perfectly preserved DNA belonging to an unknown male. A pristine biological sample proves a suspect's presence at the scene, but it remains functionally useless without a corresponding name in a database to attach it to. Law enforcement relies on CODIS to match unknown genetic profiles to a known identity. This system requires the offender to have a prior criminal record and a pre-existing profile in the system to trigger a match. When investigators ran the sample from the Preer home, the system returned no results. The case went cold, remaining unsolved for the next 23 years. Because the suspect had no prior record, he remained invisible to the database, allowing a killer to live undetected in the community for over 2 decades. In 2022, Montgomery County Police submitted the decades-old DNA sample to Othram, a laboratory specializing in advanced forensic genome sequencing. This sequencing process decodes raw biological material into a mass, interconnected map of thousands of distinct genetic markers. Investigative Genetic Genealogy uses this map to find distant relatives who have voluntarily submitted their DNA to public databases. This methodology bypasses the direct match requirements of CODIS by searching for familial connections rather than a single offender profile. Genealogists spent 18 months working backward from the recovered sample, reconstructing a lineage generation by generation. The genetic markers traced the family's origins across the globe to a bloodline in Romania. Once the ancestral origin was locked in, researchers built the family tree forward in time, tracing descending branches back to present-day Maryland. As the tree neared the year 2001, the search narrowed to a highly specific pool of potential candidates. Tracing bloodlines across centuries and continents allowed investigators to shrink a global population down to a handful of actionable names. Investigators then cross-referenced this candidate pool against the original Chevy Chase police file from 2001. The name Eugene Gligor appeared in both the sprawling Romanian family tree and the original detective notes. Eugene Gligor was the high school ex-boyfriend of Leslie's daughter, Lauren Preer. The forensic process identified a man who had known the victim for years, revealing a killer who had successfully avoided detection since high school. A genealogical lead provides a search target, but it does not meet the legal threshold for an arrest warrant. Detectives placed Eugene Gligor under covert surveillance, watching him closely until he discards a water bottle in a public space. Officers recovered the bottle to extract a direct DNA sample from Gligor. Short tandem repeat analysis confirmed a direct, undeniable match between Gligor's saliva and the evidence found at the 2001 crime scene. This transition from a genealogical lead to an STR match transforms a scientific theory into a legal certainty. Eugene Gligor was arrested in June 2024. He entered a guilty plea and was sentenced to 22 years in prison in August 2025. This became the first cold case in Montgomery County history resolved using investigative genetic genealogy. The investigative model uses genealogy to generate the initial lead and traditional DNA analysis to provide the definitive legal proof. With preserved physical evidence, a blank database is no longer a permanent dead end. Time is no longer on a killer's side.